The Moody Gardens Golf Course, a municipal golf course in Galveston, Texas, sits on the edge of the Gulf of Mexico coastline. In 2007, the golf course went through a major renovation to alleviate issues due to its location and lack of elevation.
The golf course prior to the renovation sat a little bit lower, and whenever there was any storm events in the Gulf and the tides went up, the golf course would go underwater. A lot more so than now. They raised the golf course, all the greens and everything else, at least 5 feet throughout the whole golf course. So when we do have a storm event, not an Ike, but a minor storm event, when the golf course used to be closed for 3, 4, 5 days, we're now able to stay open throughout that time.
Additionally, Moody Gardens uses effluent irrigation, so they decided to use a new turfgrass species, seashore paspalum, but needed seed, not sod or sprigs.
The availability of sod and sprigs at the time that we were going through construction, it just wasn't available at that time, and we were in a little bit of a time bind, so we decided to go with the sea spray, the seeded variety paspalum. And overall, I think I'd rather go with the seeded variety than the sodding and the sprigging. I like the process a little bit better. With the sodding, you have the seams with the sod that you're trying to grow in and get settled in. We did have a little bit of issue. We had a lot of rain during the grow in, so we had a little bit of wash, but I think you would have had that with the sod and the sprigs also. So I just like the process a lot after going through it and sitting back and kind of reflecting on it. I'd probably do it again with the seeded variety rather than the sodded or sprig varieties.
The first step in the process was getting rid of all the Bermuda grass, but once that was done, it was similar to any grow-in.
We went in and sprayed Roundup and Fusilade over the whole golf course 3 separate times to try and eradicate the Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is very prevalent down here in the Galveston, Houston area. There's still some that's coming up around the paspalum. I believe that the paspalum over time will end up choking out the Bermuda grass. It's very, very similar to growing in a Bermuda grass golf course. It's a lot of fertility, a lot of water. It spreads a lot like Bermuda grass. I think it spreads a little bit quicker than Bermuda grass, a little more aggressive than the Bermuda grasses that I've grown before. But other than that, fertility and water and everything else is about the same as a Bermuda grass golf course.
One of Sea Spray's benefits over Bermuda grass was realized after Hurricane Ike in 2008.
It hit Friday night, Saturday morning early. The Monday prior to it, all the tides were up so far that they were on the fairways and everything, and this is 5 days prior to the hurricane hitting, so I knew it was going to be bad when we left. So we actually got everything tied down as much as possible on that Thursday. My crew and I left on Thursday about 11 o'clock, and the storm surge was about somewhere in between 12 and 13 feet here. All the greens were underwater. Most of the fairways were underwater. Most of the roughs were underwater. Very shocked when I got back from Hurricane Ike driving around the golf course. It was a bright green. Having some of the Bermuda grass turned off color, it just really stood out. It was amazing. It held on as good as it did.
There was a lot of cleanup needed after the storm, but the Sea Spray came through mostly unscathed.
We did go out with some high calcium limestone and everything else to try and get the salts washed through. Water was an issue. We didn't have power for a week, or actually 2 weeks after the storm, so getting water back out here was priority number one. And we got a generator, got water back on the golf course. We used potable water to irrigate after the storm, and we just ran as much water as we could possibly run all day long, just to flush all the salts and everything else off the golf course. And like I said, did a high calcium dolomitic limestone app wall to wall. Overall, I like the grass. It performs very well in the salt environment, and with Bermuda grass, I don't know what I would have had when I came back from Hurricane Ike. With this paspalum, it did the job that it was supposed to do. We were open back up after a major hurricane in about 6 to 7 weeks, whereas Bermuda grass, we may have been replanting the whole golf course.